Hey, welcome back everybody. Today we're in the garage and we're working on a Polaris Sportsman 90. It's a two-stroke ATV, typically considered a youth ATV. It'll support up to about 200 pounds, 225 pounds, something like that. So it will carry your average adult, or at least it'll carry me. It's got low compression on it. It's got spark, lights work. Everything seems to work. The controls all seem to work. Even had a good battery in it when we bought it. I took the battery out, put it in something else that needed a battery, and already sold it. So it does need a battery at this point, but we're going to pull the top end of it off and put a new piston and a new cylinder on it. I believe it's considered a big bore kit for it. It'll make it 100cc, where right now it's a 90cc. We're going to pull the front wheels off of it to make it easy. Try not to take off too much of the plastics. We do have to take off some of the engine surround, the plastic stuff on the fan that forces the air around the head for cooling. But we'll take that stuff off and then we'll get right to the cylinder. It shouldn't be very hard. It's a two-stroke. There's no valves to deal with, no timing to deal with, so it's pretty simple. I'm going to try to do a time lapse and show you me taking it apart. I'm going to use our impact wrench to make this easy. Looks like 14 millimeter. The wheels are 14 millimeters. Pull that one off and pull the other one off. This just makes it a whole lot easier to get to these front components. That's in there so we don't lose them. Alright, so now that we have the front wheels off, I've already pulled the spark plug out of here. We're going to go in and take all of that surround plastic off that's around the head. So there's a couple bolts that hold that on, a couple screws. I'm going to try to take all that off without taking this side plastic off. I may end up having to take that side plastic off on this side, but hopefully not. That's an Allen bolt that's holding those on. So I'm going to go get an Allen head. Looks like a 4 millimeter Allen. We can make sure. This is just a Phillips head right here that I'm taking out. Some of y'all may have seen my Eton video where we do the big bore 100cc kit on the Viper 90. These engines are almost identical. So if you haven't seen that video, please go check it out. There's a lot of good stuff on there. Anything that I missed on that one, I'm going to try to cover on this one. Nope, it looks like it's going to be a 5. Yep, it's 5 millimeter. So we took those two off right there. Got one more I have to take off right here, down here. I did take out this 12 millimeter and this 12 millimeter that were holding this little metal shroud right there. I don't think that I had to take it out, but it looked like it was going to make it easier, so I went ahead and pulled it out. Just 2 bolts. Just remember where they went. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this one out now. So I went ahead and grabbed this. This is a 5 millimeter socket. It's an Allen, 5 millimeter Allen that goes on your socket set. And I'm going to use my extension on my impact and just go ahead and pull that out since the T-handle doesn't want to fit in there. There's a washer that goes behind that Allen head, so make sure you don't lose that washer. Right here. The little washer. Don't want to lose that. Alright, this might be one more I have to do, but this should allow me to pop the plastic shroud off of this side of the engine. Let's see. Hopefully I don't have to take that footrest off. If I do, it's not that big a deal. Just trying to avoid having to do that. So there's a little tab under there. You don't want to break that tab off. But that's what's holding it on the bottom. So hopefully you haven't done it already if you're doing yours at the same time. Try to get you in there. See that right there? It's a little plastic tab. And you want to not break that off if you can. There. All right. So that is off. I'm not sure if this is going to come over the stator. I might just go ahead and take this footwell off and make things easier on myself. Because I'm going to fight that. So we're going to go ahead and pull this footwell off. 10 on the top, 10 on the bottom. There's a washer on that. When you take those off, so there's a washer on the top and a washer on the bottom. Alright, so that's loose now. I don't think I need to take it all the way off, but yep, that comes completely off now and gets out of our way. I'm going to take all of those bolts and put them in that lid so we don't lose them. Alright. So something else you can see right here is this is your oil pump linkage. It's tied into your throttle linkage. So every time you pull the throttle cable, it pulls your oil pump, as long as your oil pump's still hooked up. And it pumps oil into your carburetor through this line right here, this little line with this white piece of tape on it, runs up and it injects oil into the inside of your carburetor. So that way, when your engine's running, it's pulling in pre-mixed oil and gas, which is what a two-stroke engine needs, is oil and gas mixed together. All right, so now we're going to pull off this part of the assembly. Should be able to pull that out and pull this hose off of it. And let's look around the other side and see if something else is holding it. All right, so I got that cover off without having to pull the carburetor off. When I was trying to get to the screw on the carburetor, I ended up just sort of pulling it off. So it's right here. It ended up just sliding out from underneath the carburetor. We're ready to start taking apart the head now. I've got it zoomed in. We're going to put a new new cylinder on there to do the big bore kit. So to do that, we're going to have to pull off the muffler. So we're going to go ahead and loosen those up. They should be 10 millimeter, I think. Yep, 10 millimeter. So we're going to go ahead and pull those out. You definitely don't want to strip anything out, so take your time. Make sure that you got your socket good on there. Yep, and then it should just drop down like that. Alright, so now we got those off. We're going to go ahead and pull the top off. And it should be 4 10 millimeter bolts on the top end. We're going to take out 1, 2, and then the 2 on the other side. So we got those 4 taken out. Looks like some of our head studs came completely out. Use the magnet to help us out a little bit there. This bottom one didn't come all the way out. Alright, so there goes the head. Head looks pretty good. Head gasket. Piston definitely looks like the rings are in bad shape. The piston itself looks like it's a little scored up. Where they started to loosen but didn't come all the way out, my head studs are catching the cylinder right there. So I'm going to have to slide that back over and pull those out. Alright, so to make that easy so that I don't have to put the piston back on there, I'm going to go ahead and pull that piston out. Get your little pliers and grab that wrist pin clip. Alright, so that's the wrist pin clip, came right out. These are usually not reusable. You can try to reuse them, but I usually just replace them. When you get a new wrist pin, it usually comes with it. I'm going to push the wrist pin out from this side. Alright, we got it coming out. And out comes the piston. So there's the piston. We'll take a look at it up on the bench here in a minute, but you can see it's got a lot of scarring. The rings look like they're pretty much gone. So definitely needs a new top end. Alright, so now that we got that out, we're just going to shimmy this back a little bit. So you see those 2 right there. Those 2 right there. So the other 2 came out and these 2 didn't. So we're going to go ahead and get these 2 to come out right now. I'm going to do that by threading one of these on here. So I'll screw that one on that way. I'll screw this one on that way. And then I tighten them together. So tighten them together. So now if I twist that inner one, it'll unscrew. Just like that. Alright, so now we got that out. We're going to repeat that process for the one right below it. So screw this one on, and screw this other one on. It should look like that when you're done. So you've got 2 of them and they're facing each other. Alright, so again, twist them towards each other so that they tighten. And we'll use our inner one to unscrew the head stud. Once it's loose, you can get your fingers in there. Just unscrew the whole head stud, head bolt. Pull it out. Once you do that, your pistons or your cylinder's going to come right out. So there's your cylinder.